Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Anyone choosing to still associate with Mr. Nero after receiving this letter will be regarded as complicit in Mr. Nero's game.
If you like puzzles, you're going to love this game.
Furthermore, my personal advice for your own safety is not to engage with Mr. Nero, as it has been proven time after time that his behavior is erratic, perhaps even dangerous.
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is the follow-up to 2019's interactive music album Sayonara Wild Hearts. That game had some serious artistic style and some great music, and the team has brought it right back for this one. The core gameplay of Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is very basic. The controls are just walk and interact. That's it. There's fixed camera angles, so you don't need to worry about that, and the game just makes sure that you're always looking at what you need to be looking at. I don't want to spoil anything here, but you might encounter maybe some retro control styles too, which was a very nice surprise. It's quite slow, heavy movement, but I think that's the game just telling you to slow down, take in your surroundings, take your time and analyse the puzzles as they come. When you figure out how to run, it's a nice change of pace in bursts. It's not a button that you haven't pressed. I'm not going to say anything, but you can run in this game. I did find the running animation a bit odd. When she does run, she looks like a bit like maybe one of these doors needs to open up and be a toilet. She needs it bad. But maybe that's on purpose. I don't know. You'll see what I mean. Other than the movement, obviously the main part of this game is the puzzles. So with the puzzles, prepare to read a lot, collect a lot, and generally be aware of your surroundings. One of the first things I said out loud while starting this game was, I think I'm too dumb for this game. But cause I was just met with a wall of... The puzzles just seemed really obtuse. I couldn't figure anything out. What I will say is the game respects your intelligence and it doesn't spell everything out for you. But, like I said, collect the items, read everything, and make sure you're observant of your surroundings, look for little clues, and you always have the answers that you need. You're going to need to use your brain to put them together, but you always have the answers there. You don't need to have knowledge outside of the game really to finish it. I mean, yes, maths a bit, but there's a calculator in the game for you, and a lot of the collection items teach you how to do stuff, so everything is there. There's a nice variety of puzzles. The bulk of it is going to be, numbers, dates, shapes, your standard logic puzzle kind of stuff. You might need to collect multiple items to have enough information to solve something, and a lot of the puzzles do kind of hang around in your mind, and you'll be wondering, how do I open that? Why can't I get into there? And then all of a sudden, maybe you'll pick something up or you'll see something and it'll just click, and you run back to it and you have that aha moment. To me, that's what this game's all about. It's feeling exceptionally stupid because you just can't get it, and then all of a sudden the pieces come together and you just feel like a genius. As for the plot, I'll try not to. I don't want to spoil anything because that's a lot of what the intrigue of the game is about. All I'll say, I guess, is not a lot makes sense at first, but it's kind of what you can expect from a puzzle game, right? You start out in your car in the forest, you've got very few items, you've got car keys and tampons in your bag. Yep, you better believe I was shoving those tampons into pretty much any hole that I could find just to see if that was the solution. And no, I don't mean it like that. It quickly turns out that you're here to investigate a hotel or an old manor house or something. There's interesting characters, there's history, there's themes of magic, crystal balls, playing cards, pulling roses out of hats and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is a very short section because I can't give away names and details. It's all about what you unravel in the game. But I really can't say much on the plot, but once everything was said and done, I did have to find some summaries online from people much smarter than I am to fully grasp what was going on. All I'll say that it's quite a beautiful ending, and it's well worth the struggle to get to. Pros and cons, big pros, straight out of the gate, the visual style and the atmosphere. If you've played Sayonara Wild Hearts, you know what you're getting in for here. Immediately drawn in, seeing the trailers online and how it looked was enough to grab my attention, and it really stays. It sticks all the way through. all the way up to the ending, there are some quite amazing scenes, and the things that the team do with the game to elevate the visuals is pretty amazing. Again, I can't show you because I don't want to be too spoilery, but again, there's some visual treats, there's some really amazing stuff to be seen as well. I love the fact that this game pretty much requires pen and paper. I don't recall, maybe I'm not playing enough puzzle games, but I don't recall games that need pen and paper, and it's a really refreshing thing to be doing. To be honest, I ended up with maybe 6 or 7 pages of just scrawled notes, kept flipping back and forth between them, just trying to make sense of everything, and it really felt like a proper game experience. That does kind of mean sometimes there are overwhelming moments. There were some times where I felt like I'd exhausted all of my paths. I'd maybe have 5 or so puzzles where I was just banging my head against the wall. I couldn't get past any of them. But then you just maybe take a break, take a step back, go back to it, and you realise the information's all there. Maybe you've missed something, sure, have a look around, but the information's there. And then when you crack it, you just get that. You get that moment, that eureka moment, you feel like a genius and you can push on. Again, with the nature of a puzzle game, I'd say there's probably limited replayability. Definitely jump back in for the atmosphere and the storytelling, but once you know how the puzzles are solved, how they work, there's not too much to come back to. But what I really like is I've seen that the solutions are actually randomized, so shapes and words that worked in my playthrough might not necessarily work in yours. I don't know if that's maybe an anti-cheat, making speedrunning more interesting thing, I don't know, but I thought that was pretty cool. The whole game has quite a dark and lonely atmosphere, so if you're looking for a comforting experience, this probably isn't it. There are themes of violence and murder, and that's everything you'd expect in a mystery. But ultimately, I was gripped all the way through, and the game doesn't overstay its welcome. Final opinions would be, if you can afford to, this one is well worth it at full price. I clocked 21 hours on Steam, and I still spent time outside of the game thinking about it as well, so you can add a bit more time onto that too. I couldn't put this game down. There were several evenings where I just looked at the clock, it was 9 PM, and then it felt like I blinked, and suddenly it's 2 AM. I kept going, I played this every evening, I just wanted to get back to it every time I put it down, so eventually I hit 97% completion. I think I only missed out on a few collectibles. I will admit there were 1 or 2 points where I looked online for a hint, not the answer outright, just a little nudge to point me in the right direction. But again, like I said earlier, the answer is always there, so whenever I did get those hints, it was very much a case of, I kicked myself because I should have got it, it was right there. If something like Return of the Obra Dinn, or maybe even some old school Resident Evil games, the puzzles in those, this game is definitely going to do it for you. The combination of interconnected, tough, but fair puzzle design, really compelling atmosphere, the haunting music, constant intrigue of the plot, just what's going on, who is this person, it really does amaze me what games can become. I mean, the game itself looks at art, the spectators of art, the idea of creating a magnum opus. To me, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes succeeds in everything it tries to be, in the pursuit of proving again, video games are art, and personally this one goes down as one of my favourite gaming experiences. Let's take a look at some of the Steam reviews. Nightmare Mode Go says, had my notebook looking like the manifesto they find after someone commits domestic terrorism. Yep. Here's one from SFTS that says, this game feels like a Resident Evil or Silent Hill but without combat and horror. Instead it's packed with satisfying puzzles, artsy cinematic aesthetic, and creative gameplay solutions. Perfect to scratch that mild autism itch. And Butterfly McDoom, go in blind, come out with laser eyes. Nice. So that's it for this one. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. As I'm sure you can tell, this is pretty new to me. I've been gaming since the mid-90s, still at it now, almost daily for 25, 30 years, whatever it's been. And I love games of all types, and all I want to do is just share that with people, talk about games with people, and hopefully entertain some people along the way. So to make this channel as good as it can be, I'd really appreciate it if you could maybe let me know what you liked about this video in the comments, maybe let me know what you didn't like, and then I can improve from there. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and hopefully you'll have some new videos soon.